Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's podcast. Each week, I try to do something that is helpful from a remodeling perspective, whether it's informing you on a product or a process or something that adds some value as you're looking for a remodeling partner or trying to figure out your next project. This week, I'm going to do something a little bit different. A few weeks back, I did a little story about the engagement party of my youngest daughter and how that came to be, a kind of a behind the curtains view, so to speak. And this week, I'm going to do something a little bit similar, but it's more personal to me, and it might shed some light on something that you've wondered anyway. If you watch the videos, you'll see that behind my desk, behind my head, on the wall, is a piece of art, and that art is an American flag with a thin blue line running through it, and it says, "In Memory of Officer Toney." Right now, as I'm recording this, we are at the 24th anniversary of my friend Bill Toney's passing. And I'm going to tell a little bit of the story behind it because it really, over the years we all have experiences that kind of change us and build us and form us. And this is one of those things that has impacted me. And so I'm going to tell the story in memory of my friend, in honor of my friend, and just to create some awareness and to answer questions that I've had over time about what's the story with the American flag behind your desk. And if you see the video, you'll see it. So the gist of the story is this, without going into every last detail. In the year 2000, my kids were 5 years old and 2 years old, and as you do when you have young kids and you have family friends, you oftentimes will get together and grab dinner and do things and let the kids play. And in this particular year, on this particular night, on a Friday night, it was not uncommon for us to get our kids together and grab dinner and hang out for a little while. Bill Toney was a police officer that worked for Beech Grove Police Department. An incredible story about Bill is he worked years and years and years to get on the police department. I was so proud of him because he never quit working to get on that department. He was actually a talented cabinet designer, but he always wanted to be a police officer, and he continued to pursue it, and he got on the Beech Grove Police Department. And I used to ride with him, do ride-alongs, and he was an outstanding police officer. He was the kind that you would want to pull over your son or daughter if they were going to get in trouble, because he was going to talk to them, he was going to teach them, he wasn't going to try to arrest every last person for every last thing. He was just a good guy who wanted to take care of the city of Beech Grove, keep the bad people out so that families and his family could be raised in a good place. And so I always enjoyed riding with Bill, but on this particular night, we were just grabbing Subway. We were going to grab dinner and take it back. I said, my kids were 5 and 2. His kids were young, 4 and 1. And it was just grab dinner, and he was going to go into work early. He worked late shifts, so he would typically go in 9:30. On this night, he went in an hour early for a friend who was working middle shifts. And I remember when we were going to grab Subway, he actually said that his friend, it was tough for the middle shift guys to do a lot of things with family because they were always in those hours of, I'm going to say like 2 to 10 or 1 to 9 or whatever exactly it is. But they were odd hours. And so he was doing a friend for a buddy. He was doing a favor for a buddy. And when we were going to grab dinner, there was a call for a stolen vehicle right where we were at. And we looked around for that stolen vehicle. It was a stolen van right from a Speedway gas station, right within 30 seconds of where we were grabbing dinner. And it was just kind of a unique night anyway. It was Beech Grove's homecoming night on a Friday night. Lots of buzz in the air, beautiful evening, but it was just kind of odd. It felt like we were rushed because we were grabbing dinner. We were going to eat. He was going to go in early, that type of thing. We had dinner as normal. We didn't see the van. He said, "I'm going to get that van tonight." And I figured he was going to run around and look for that van all night. There was no question. As it plays out, not very long after we left each other that night, he was involved in a police pursuit with 2 other good police officer friends of mine on that department. So there were 3 cars in the chase, and the van wrecked, and the officers pulled up, and one officer went one way chasing the driver, one officer went another way chasing the passenger, and another officer came up third behind. And my friend Bill went after the driver, and they ran through yards, and I think Bill was a young, athletic, big, strong young guy at the time, and he was gaining on the guy, and the guy knew it, and the guy went around the corner of a house and waited for Bill to come over a fence right around that corner and shot him and killed him. So obviously an incredible life-shaping experience to go through, very traumatic for any number of reasons. A terrible loss for me personally and for our families, and it just informs a lot about how I think about people and interaction. And so I have this behind me to just remind me of the types of things that Bill stood for, not in his death, but when he was with us. I always, the perseverance of you have a challenge, but you're trying to achieve something, and you just keep working and working and working and grinding and doing it. When I look up at that, that's what I think of with regard to Bill. And I think about the sacrifice that people that protect us make, and that is very important to me. And so I'm so appreciative of the police officers and the people that take care of us. And I know that every last one of them isn't the best person in the world, but by and large, most of them want to do a great job for people every day, and I recognize that. And so I always come back to that. The 3 most important things to me: do what's right, do your best, treat others the way you want to be treated. And to me, this symbol behind my head makes me think about those things, trying to do what's right, doing your best, and treating others the way that you want to be treated. This is just another visual cue for me when I'm having a bad day. My bad day is not that bad. Our challenges or our issues are not life and death issues. We don't want to make mistakes for anybody, but if a mistake happens, we know we'll fix it. So I'm not worried about those things. But I think I don't know, I'm normally not at a loss for words, but there's a phrase or something along the lines of, you got to keep the important thing, and realize where things are in terms of significance. And this symbol behind me, and just thinking about Bill, there aren't many days that go by where I don't think about my friend over the last 24 years. And so I think it's just a good reminder, and I think it's a good insight for people who don't know me or us very well to understand that, we try to have our priorities in the right place. We're going to bend over backwards for people. We're going to make sacrifices that others might not normally make. And we just try to do the right thing. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight into that. If you ever have any questions, as always, please let me know. If you're curious a little bit more about the story, I'd be happy to share it. It's quite the life experience that, hopefully no others would ever have to go through, but certainly not alone in this experience in any way. So with that, I'll remember my friend Bill Toney fondly, and I will see him again at some point someday. And I appreciate you watching and listening. Thank you. Have a great day.